Welcome to the latest episode of Branding the Experience, where we discuss ways how we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. Hi, I'm Ken Bader, your host for Branding the Experience. I'm so excited to be back after a little bit of a hiatus here, and I'm even more excited to bring back two great guests. I've got Sean Douglas, who many of you know from Life Transformation Radio. I also have Rhonda Shear with me, who is a LinkedIn expert. Rather than go through another half hour of their great bios, I'm going to put the links to both of those past shows on the show notes so you can go back and check them out, check out the show, see more about them and so forth. But I want to get to a brand new segment that I'm going to have on Branding the Experience. And I'll talk about it in a minute, but first, welcome Sean, welcome Rhonda. Rhonda, ladies first, anything you want to say as a welcome?
I'm so glad to be here. I can't wait to see what you're going to do today. It's going to be so much fun, Ken.
And Sean, welcome, man.
Hey, buddy.
He's like, hey, buddy. Yeah, he's waiting. He's like, all right, what is in this guy's crazy mind? Okay. So for those of you who have watched this show before, you know from time to time I will bring up an experience that I had as either a consumer or a business person that I think is a terrible example of branding the experience. And I also, if you remember from past shows, you know that I am originally from Chicago. And we have a favorite term that we like to call people that we really, really can't stand in Chicago. We call them jagoffs. So my new segment is going to be, Am I the jagoff? Where I bring experts on and I tell them about how I feel about a particular experience. And they're going to tell me, no, you know what? You're on point. You're on to something there. That's the wrong thing to do. Or they're going to tell me that I am the jagoff and that I am completely wrong. So you two ready to start my little segment, my little game here?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. This is perfect for both of you because I've had multiple conversations with Sean on engagement, and Rhonda is one of our LinkedIn experts. And this was an interaction I had on LinkedIn. And as many of you know, LinkedIn has gotten annoying lately in the land of COVID. You know, all those insurance people, all those accountants, all those people that used to bug you by the old jalapeno poppers at the networking events in chambers of commerce and so forth, now attack you on LinkedIn and try to sell you stuff. So I'm always on guard when I get a LinkedIn invitation and immediate engagement. So we're not going to use this person's name. We're going to call her Julie. She's a fellow consultant and coach like you and I. And she connected with me. She sent me an invitation and she said immediately, "Hi, Kenneth. I love what you do and would enjoy hearing more about you. If it's a good fit for you, looking forward." I thought, all right, it's kind of innocuous. I'll take that. You're not really selling me anything. It might be a canned line, but I'll take it. It's friendly. And then within one day, about 24 hours, she sends me this. "Hi, Kenneth. I was researching for an upcoming event and came across your profile. I was really impressed. Do you speak or do interviews? We host online business conferences, have a podcast, and do monthly lunch and learns, and I'm very interested in having you on our platform. Is that something you would like more information on? So happy to be connected and looking forward to learning more about you." Now, before I go any further about this interaction, what do you think of this engagement process so far? Rhonda, I'll let you go first as the LinkedIn expert.
So when you read the invitation, you froze. So I did not hear what the initial connection request was. Did that freeze for you as well, Sean?
No.
Oh, it just froze totally. So can you just read that first part again?
No, Sean, we'll go to you. No, I'm kidding. That first part, which was part of the invitation.
Right.
Hi, Kenneth. I love what you do and would enjoy hearing more about it. If it's a good fit for you, looking forward. And you heard the other part, correct?
I heard the other part, yeah.
Okay. So that was the initial line. So Rhonda, what do you think so far?
You know, it's pretty direct, I'll put that. The other thing is you have a pretty good profile. I mean, when I look at your profile, I know what you do. You know, it's pretty clear. So For me, I didn't get the warm fuzzies for one thing, right? What I would have really liked to have seen was, hey, thanks so much for accepting my connection request. I'd love to jump on a call and where we could learn a little bit more about one another. Okay. Now, what I like to do is I like to basically say, let's keep it in the no sales zone. I'm not going to sell you and you're not going to sell me. It's just going to be a virtual cup of coffee or tea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I don't think it was bad, but if you're really, and again, I don't know whether she did it or she was using, AI or a bot or something. That's the other question. So I'm more of, hey, thanks so much for connecting, and let's just jump on a call and get to know each other and see where it goes. That's my thought. Sean, what do you think? I'd love to get your feedback.
Yeah. So from everything I've heard so far, it's pretty normal for stuff like that. The one glaring note that says, do you do interviews? Which the profile should have said, I'm a podcaster. So like deductive reasoning would be like podcaster, he does interviews. Oh, and he's a speaker or a trainer. Yes, he does it. Right. So I don't know why that would even be in there, but from what it sounds like, that's a normal event planner. Hey, saw your profile, want to know a little bit more about what you do. We have this one business conference, we're thinking about having you speak, but just want to make sure it's the right fit. Like it seems all normal to me, except for that one sentence, which says, do you do interviews? Like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm a podcaster and a trainer. Like, yes, I would hope that I do interviews, but yeah, so far so good.
And what I also wonder about is because you can tell from looking at Jeff Kent's profile that he's clearly qualified, right?
Right.
So what's the hitch? Is it, we're looking to pay to play, right? That's the part that gets me, so I'm just wondering because somebody that's playing at Ken's level, really, we already know that he does interviews and it's kind of like, we'd love to talk to you and and explain what's involved to see if you have an interest, as opposed to, It almost sounds like a little bit of a bait and switch. I don't know.
Yeah, I would have responded, hey, thank you for the compliments. Yes, I do interviews. I'm a podcaster of 2 shows. I speak here, here, and here, and here. Would love to get some more information on how I could bring value to your audience and how, we could collaborate on whatever project that you're thinking I'd be a good fit for. Please let me know more information and I'll be in touch soon. I would have left it at that.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
So how did you respond?
Well, we're on the same wavelength, because what's funny is many times I would say when I get a message that is asking me for a response that comes almost immediately after I've accepted an invitation, I'm already on guard and I ignore it. But this one, I actually felt, all right, I kind of agree. I agree with you, is that I'm thinking, all right, is this a pay to play? Where are you going here? What are you trying to sell me? But I'm like, it's nice. It's professional, even though you're right. If you take 10 seconds to look at my profile, I do interviews. I go on podcast. I speak. You could have catered it a little bit and said, hey, I see you're a speaker. Let's talk. I've got a program coming, or I've got a podcast. I want to talk specifically about X. It could have been turned to where it was specifically towards me rather than general, but it was nice enough where I actually bit for a minute and I thought, all right, let's see where this goes. This was my response. Hello, Amy. Yes, I speak, I do interviews, I do lunch and learns, all of that fun stuff. What is it that you have in mind? Ken.
Love it.
Just like, all right, I'll play, but I'm not going to write an entire paragraph.
Yeah. No, I would have said the same thing. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Next.
So next, this is her response. Hey, Kenneth, awesome. Here's the link to apply to be a speaker.
Okay.
On there, you can select if you are interested in being a speaker for podcast, Clubhouse, online business conference, in-person business conference, Facebook Live, YouTube collaboration, joint venture webinar. I look forward to collaborating with you. After we receive your information, we'll reach out for scheduling and specific topics. Thanks.
Sounds normal.
Rhonda?
Well, I'm a big believer that, you know, if you give too many choices, people don't make any decisions, right? So, you know, A, B, or C, when you get the rest of it, it's kind of like, okay, this is too much. I don't even know that I would keep reading if it was me. It's like, this is too much. Again, that's just my personal thing. And again, I'm still wondering, you know, now I still have to go click and see, is this pay to play? What is the deal? And she didn't really respond in the same tone that you know, you were very friendly and warm and, you know, and you kind of got a canned response.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now go ahead, Sean. It looked like you had a point there.
No, I just 100% disagree, but that's it.
Now a word from our sponsor, Bader Training and Consulting. BTC has recently partnered with the Success Corps to offer the Podcast for Business Success package. Launching a podcast allows your business to engage directly with your established audience, strengthening an existing bond while simultaneously developing future relationships with prospects who they may have never done business with or met otherwise. Ken Bader and Sean Douglas utilize branding, culture, and strategy to increase engagement between company and customer by launching your uniquely branded, strategically designed podcast, fostering customer relations and business growth. Ken and Sean have hosted over 1,000 podcast episodes across multiple shows and channels. You can watch live, in person, or virtually as they speak at most podcast events around the country, highlighting their expertise as icons of influence in the podcasting space. Ken and Sean not only teach the art of podcasting, but are well-known and respected practitioners, launching dozens of top-rated shows between them and their clients. Ken is also a frequent contributor to Podcast Magazine. Rather than launching your podcast on your own, wouldn't it make sense to have not one but two icons of influence teach you how? Of course it would. So harness the power of your past to launch your future with a perfectly branded podcast. Contact BTC at info@btcinc.net today with podcast package in the subject line for more information today.
Hey, Ken, I need you to speak at my event. Choose the morning, afternoon, or evening and pick a time between this time, and this time. And I give a bunch of different options, like choose something. If he doesn't choose anything, then I'm going to go on to the next person. Like, I don't have time to play back and forth between schedules. Like, well, what do you think? And would the morning be good for you? Would the afternoon? Like, here's your options. Take it or leave it. I'm going to move on to the next person. I don't have time for games. It just feels like in the speaking business, that's how you have to play the game. Now, in a regular business, yeah, I'd 100,000% agree with you, Rhonda. Too many choices. A confused buyer doesn't buy. Totally. Do you want the blue or the black or the red or the green or the yellow? Like, that's why wedding planners is like the worst job ever. The worst job. I would never be a wedding planner. Like, not ever. Because you give it her like, look, do you want pink, blue, or brown? Like, pick the three. Or you have a choice between purple and yellow. Like, what are you going to choose? You know what I mean? But like, yeah, in the speaking world, everything is so fluid, and I was in the event space for 4 years. You know, that's my literal email or message would be the same thing that Ken got. Okay, here's what we have. We have the live event, for example, Podfest. I spoke at Podfest. So Podfest Global is the umbrella. Then you have Military Con, where I spoke. Then you have PodCon, MedCon for medical. Then you have SexCon. Then you have VidFest, and under VidFest you have VidCon. Then you have like 3 other options. Like, there's 6 different events going on at the same time. So like, which part of the event do you want to be? And then under the VidCon, like under Military Con, where do you want to be? Do you want to be under monetizing? Do you want to be under podcasting? Do you want to be under speaking? Do you want to be under business? Do you want to be like, there's a whole bunch of tracks.
Where does XCon fit in all this?
Yeah, right. So I mean, I'm gonna create a bunch of different options and place you where I think you would fit. And if somebody doesn't want to take action on that, then, you know, I'm gonna move on to the next person, because someone will take action on it. Someone will pick choose a, whatever. Or if you're really smart as an event planner, you'll just take his information and place him where your team thinks the best place to fit him according to what your audience needs are and where that speaker would fit the needs. But most event planners don't think that way. So hence why we're having this conversation. But so far, I'm 100% on board with what I said.
Okay. Okay. Now, see, this is the portion of the show where we have our favorite segment, or my new favorite segment, which is, am I on point or am I the jagoff? Because at this point is when I got upset. And one of the reasons, the main reason I got upset, and this falls in perfectly to branding the experience, because it's about keeping customers or making customers want to come back. And when you first engage with somebody, you need to make them want to continue to be engaged. It's a very tenuous point at that particular stage where maybe you've earned like 1 or 2 points in the emotional bank account, and you need to keep earning points and not screw that up. So until this point, I was on board. But this is where I got ticked off. And this is where I need you to tell me if I was on point or if I am the jagoff. This is my response. So this is engagement now in 2021. I'm only 51 and I still feel young, but I must be old. I have probably managed over 100 events. When I have an interest in a possible speaker, I reach out and say, hey, you may be a good fit for a conference I run. Let's schedule a quick call or Zoom meeting to discuss possible topics and your speaking honorarium. I have produced over a half dozen podcasts. When I come across someone who interests me and may align with the essence of the show, I reach out and say, you may be a good fit for my podcast. Let's get you scheduled for a conversation. Yada, yada, yada. So this is the key point. I don't shove people to forums, online calendars, or some cold, disengaging web page. It's simply one human being connecting with another human being using technology as the conduit and not the entire means of the process. I will give you credit for one thing. Your initial reach out to me was engaging. Usually when someone connects with me and immediately sends me an instant message, it's so annoying and ingenuine that he or she gets blocked on the spot. And I go on to say I appreciated that, but was really upset that here we are engaging as two equal peers, and I'm interested, and now you've shoved me into a form or some other type of mechanism to basically take me down a level of engagement and push me off to your process rather than one person speaking to another person. So was I on point to be upset, or am I the jagoff? Ladies first.
You know, I personally like your approach. Okay. And the reason that I like it is because it's very human, you know, and it's very real. And again, I'm like you. I don't like being pushed off into a forum, and I don't think there's anything wrong with a quick conversation, particularly because in this situation, okay, they're asking you to go to all of these different sites, and they still haven't told you whether this is a pay to play or not. And that's the part where I get confused, because you're a highly qualified person. It's not like we're talking to somebody that has never done this before. Mm-hmm. And probably my guess is, Sean, that you might have a different opinion.
I think Sean's going to tell me that I'm the jagoff.
So I actually like it, you know, and that would be the approach I would take. But again, you know, we're all different, right? That's why there's 28 flavors of ice cream. So.
All right.
So I would say, no, you're not the jagoff. Okay.
Okay. So, all right. Counterpoint, Sean, why am I the jagoff? Because I can see it in your face.
My next message would have been like, well, thank you for your response, Ken, and all of our speaker spots are full. Have a nice day.
So obviously I'll never be speaking at any of Sean's events, but Rhonda.
I'm just gonna place you where I think you would go, which is what a smart event planner would do. Ken would be really good fit here. I'm gonna ask Ken, do you think that you're a really good fit here? And if he says yes, then we're golden. If he says no, then I'm gonna pick between these 12 different tracks, pick between these 12 different options, because I know he loves options. And you know, but what I'll say, man, you know, that's their process. Mm. You know, their process for you to go to this one landing page and where all the information is, because if they have, PodFest has close to 1,200 attendees with like 30 to 40 different tracks going on at the same time for a week straight. There's a team behind it. I'm not going to follow up with people who are like, well, like and ask a bunch of questions. Look, here's the webpage. Everything you need to know is on the webpage. Let me know if you have any questions that's not on the webpage, because everything that I have is going to be on the webpage. Like I just don't have time, and my team doesn't have time to go and field 30 or 40 different speaking, personalities. Like, I just don't have time for it. I'm just telling you, man, sometimes this is the price you got to play the game. And in the speaking world, this is the game that's played. They're going to send you to a website. And I promise you, did you go to the website?
Oh, no. I was too pissed to go to the website.
So if you would have gone to the website, you would have seen all the different tracks, right? Then it would have gave you a form to fill out your name, your topic, your title, probably a bio, but more than likely the abstract. It would ask you for an abstract, which is basically 3 to 5 sentences on what you would speak about. Like, this talk is going to be about this and this and this. We're going to cover this, this, and this, and this is who it's for. Boom, done. Then it would have said, do you agree to whatever? Then I promise you it would have said, and you must pay, or we do not pay our speakers, or the speaking engagement is free. No money exchanges hands, whatever. Like, it would have given you that information. So I don't know, man. I would have just went to the website just to go see what it was about.
Rhonda, do you have any other points before I try to convince Sean that I'm not a jagoff?
You're not.
No, and
I used to run an event company, dude. You're not going to. I used to run.
And Sean makes a good point. I mean, I think Sean's points are really valid. And I think it's just your style too. Some people are hungrier than others, right? And when you see that, they're like, yeah, they're going to go there immediately. And if you're somebody that's busy and you already have your own show and whatever, but I think Sean's points are extremely valid. And I think if that's the way it's being done, that makes a lot of sense. So, I don't think it's a question of whether you're a jagoff or you're not. It's just a question of, you're going to go there or you're not going to go there.
Yeah.
6 of one, half dozen of the other. But I think what he's saying is completely valid.
And you can also pass it off to an assistant. Like, hey, this lady reached out to me. Can you vet this information? I'm going to pass it off to my assistant. And my assistant's going to go through the webpage because that's what she gets paid to go through the redundancy of the redundancy, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, just let me know when I'm speaking or if you have any questions. But she knows what she's looking for. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. She just does. So I'm going to pass it off. I'm going to be like, hey, can you do this for me? Because that's what I pay her for. And then, yeah, I mean, and then she'll tell me like, hey man, you got to pay like $5,000. I'm like, tell him no. Actually, matter of fact, delete the message. Don't even respond.
It blocked them from existence.
No, I never block anybody. I never block anybody. Nope. I don't block anybody unless they're like super creepy or they're like really like, you got to be like really like past dark humor for me to like, you got to get me super pissed to even block you. Yeah, I don't block people. I just don't. That takes a lot of energy.
So that's why I've been blocked.
I mean, your first name is Ken. Of course I had to block you. Seems logical to me.
It's funny, Ken. The one thing you said, which was interesting, is that, you get a little suspicious when somebody responds immediately. And, I will tell you that, sometimes, during the day I'll get a break or whatever, right? Somebody will cancel or on an appointment or whatever it is, and I'll see a message and I will respond immediately. So, and again, it's me responding, right? And sometimes, what I'll do is I'll actually take my phone and I'll do an audio message. And I might say, hey, Ken, thanks so much for accepting my connection request. I just noticed that we have 653 connections in common and we both went to XYZ. So I don't necessarily think that, just because it was immediate, because we never know what time zone somebody's in. We don't know when they're looking at it. So I wouldn't necessarily make that a criteria to say immediately. If you get a standard bot type of response, absolutely. Yeah. But when you get something that's personalized and it just happens to be quick, because sometimes those are the best ones when I see that. And, you see the green dot and they're already online, right? So yeah. You're going to get something back. So again, just as a blanket statement, you might want to sometimes give somebody a little bit of leeway. That's all.
Hey, Rhonda, I bet Ken's the guy who was like, I'm not going to call her right away. I'm going to wait like 2 days. Like, you remember that game? Remember that game in high school? Like, do I call him right away or do I? No, I'm going to wait. No, I'm going to wait. No. Do I text right after the date and say, oh my gosh, it was so great, even though I just told him that?
I'm too old for that crap.
I'm just saying, you remind me of that person.
I got 2 single daughters, Sean. They're still playing that game. They're 29 and 31. Hello.
Wow.
That's great. That's great.
So you had
Yeah.
2 daughters when you were a teenager, is what you're saying.
Oh, I love you. Yes, 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 yes.
So,
Yes, we won't talk about how many decades I've been married either. Okay.
see,
That's awesome.
I have to be nice to Rhonda because she doesn't think I'm a jagoff, Sean. But but to a couple of points, as they relate to branding the experience, you are spot on, Rhonda, with the idea that an immediate response isn't always a negative response. Because there are many times where I've gotten, hey, thanks for the connection, looking forward to speaking with you.
Yeah,
And it very well may be canned, but it's not innocuous. It's not asking me when I get one of those 18 paragraph responses
Delete.
in like 90 seconds, like
Delete.
Literally, I got one which we won't go into because this could be a whole different segment and episode from a CPA that's asking me questions about my income taxes and my business taxes when I haven't even met him. I'm like, really, this is an annoyance. Block. I'm not as nice as Sean. Block. Yeah, so I agree with you that just because it's an immediate message, even if it's a bot, frankly, if it's just 2 sentences that isn't asking me a question or having me do something, that's just saying, hey, great to connect, my radar does not go up for that. And that's actually, and that very well may have been a bot from Julie, not her name, but we'll call her Julie. You are correct in that from this individual, the first immediate email or message being 2 sentences, didn't ask me a question, didn't ask me to do anything, was totally innocuous. And actually, frankly, as I alluded to in one of my responses, actually earned a couple of points in the emotional bank account. I wanted to, all right, I'm willing to engage in a conversation with you via LinkedIn.
Right.
To your point, Sean, about this is how event planners are, going back to branding, it depends on the conference or if it's an event.
Mhm.
If PodFest had reached out to me and said, hey, fill out this form. Now, that's a big conference. Now, that I probably would fill out a form. If it's some innocuous little conference in the middle of nowhere that I've never heard about, all right, you and I are on the same level. Don't shove me to a forum. If you're telling me, hey, I want you to be on name a big conference.
Me?
Yeah.
UPW.
Yeah, if you want me to be on UPW or you want me to be in a TEDx talk, you say, hey, I love what you do. I see your profile. You should be a TEDx speaker. We're gonna get you on TEDx, Minneapolis. Just fill out this form. You're damn right. I'm gonna fill out this form. And if it's a conference that I've never heard of, if it's an event that I don't know about, and a podcast that I've never even heard about, I mean, I'm kind of like you. I'm in all these podcast things. If I haven't heard of you and your podcast, you're really off my radar, and you're having me go through an extra hoop. So the last point that I'll say on this is that, to give you a great example, granted, it's a smaller industry, but the Credit Union Leadership Convention is easily one of the top 3 events in that industry. Probably number 1 or number 2. And I got to speak twice at that convention. When the leader of that particular program, and his name escapes me right now, I apologize, he's a really good guy. When he wanted me to speak, he didn't shove me to a forum. He didn't say, hey, go to this website. He sent me an email and said, hey, you know what? I've seen what you do. I like your podcasts. I know you got a book out there. Let's schedule time to talk because I want you to speak at the Credit Union Leadership Convention, and I have a couple of ideas specifically in mind. When are you available for a call? Now, that's a big conference that everybody knows about in that particular industry. Mm-hmm. He didn't shove me towards a forum. He engaged with me like another human being. And that's what I would have expected from a stranger, much less somebody that, Yeah, that actually does have, you know, a decent sized conference. So am I still the Jagoff, Sean, or do I have a point?
No, man. Yeah. Sorry, you still are.
Still
Hey,
Jagoff. Okay.
did they respond back?
Yes. This
I'm here. I'm
individual
anxious for the response.
did respond back. So the response was this.
Watch it be. Well, this is our process, and this is how we.
Actually, this was a pretty decent response.
Okay, let's hear it.
And it was obviously not a bot. This was this individual response.
It's not a bot to begin with.
Yeah,
I can tell you exactly the wordage from a bot.
Okay, so the emails I get from you are a bot because they're always the same.
No.
Okay.
I just copy and paste it like 4 times. Go.
Yeah. All right. So Julie says, I respect your loathing of forms and can see how that does not fit with your levels of customer service and can see how the response was rushed. I will do better in the future. I have to say, though, I love me a good form. In 2021, they have saved lives, particularly the lives of my 5 kids who are all homeschooling this year and seem to frequently decide to yell, cry, break bones on trampolines while I am on calls. 5 boys, it happens. So in order to keep the peace, manage all the hats I wear, and produce the events we produce with over 100 speakers a year, yes, we do love a good form. I love conversations, too. I just schedule them after the form. Best wishes.
What did I say, man? That's their process, and they're managing a lot of stuff, and they're managing a big event, and they're managing all the other, like, you know what I'm saying? So just saying, man, like I'm telling you, that's how the industry is. There's so many moving pieces and so many moving parts. I just don't have time. My kids are in virtual school. My kids are on trampoline. Like, I just don't have time. So yes, after that initial form, I'm going to look and see what your responses are, and then I'll reach out individually because that form is going to answer all of my questions anyways. Like the phone call or a form, your time or my time. Your time is more valuable than mine, but my time is more valuable than yours. You see what I'm saying? So who wins? Well, I'm the gatekeeper. I host the event. I ask you to be a speaker. I don't need you to be a speaker, but I hold the keys. I hold the cards. If you want to speak at my event, you're going to do what I tell you to do. If not, then I'm going to go to somebody else who will do what I tell them to do because I just don't have time. You know what I'm saying? So everything I said prior to the response is completely like, you're even more of a bigger jack off, man. You're like a double jack off because everything she's like, look, I get it. And she slapped back, man. She's like, look, I got 5 kids. I got this event. I got this thing, this thing, this thing. So yes, I have a good form. Have a nice day. She basically told you to fill out the damn form. Like, I'm just saying, like,
well, she did more than that. She blocked my ass after.
Yes. I'm just saying, dude, like, yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, you suck.
So
you missed an opportunity, man. You missed an opportunity. That's all I'm gonna say. You missed an opportunity.
So now this episode of Branding the Experience will not be aired because Rhonda, is your opinion changed? Am I now the jagoff, or are you still with me?
I'm sorry, Ken. I gotta go with Sean on this one.
I called it from the beginning. I knew where it was going to go.
He nailed it.
So what?
Now my approach,
okay,
I do agree with Rhonda though. The approach. Okay, so if I want Rhonda like to speak at my event, hey Rhonda, I saw that you are a LinkedIn expert. I'm hosting a social media conference. There is an actual huge social media conference. I forget what it's called, but it's massive.
It's the one in San Diego. I've been there.
It is the one in San Diego. I cannot remember what it's called.
Oh yeah, I know.
Huge.
Yeah, I can't remember it either.
But let's say I'm like, hey, I'm hosting a conference called the smallest social media conference attended ever, and I really would love for you to speak on the LinkedIn principles that you teach. I think that would be great for my audience because my audience struggles with 1, 2, 3. And I think that you'd be a great fit for that. Could you please, again, event planner, could you please fill out this form that will allow me to gather as much information as possible. And then after that, we can schedule a call. So
Now, see,
that is where the event
yeah.
planner failed. And that's why I said event planners don't think the same way speakers do. Event planners are like, I hold the keys, I hold the cards, do it my way. Empathy would have taken over.
To your point, what she said, okay, this woman clearly has 5 kids, right? And we're in COVID times, okay?
Right.
So she's just trying to make sure, nobody is bleeding or, whatever, right? And get her job done in an efficient way. So to her credit, the fact that she even took the time to write that to you, Ken, is amazing. I mean, honestly, it is.
Yeah.
So, I think that if they said it the way you just said it, Sean, absolutely. And again, you say, I'm looking for a LinkedIn expert for this particular conference. Yeah, I'm going to go there. Okay, absolutely. But maybe the initial approach was just what you said. She's busy. She doesn't have the time. And basically, she's in the cut and paste business. Let's just get it done.
Yeah.
Because she's got a boss.
Yep. She definitely is in the cut. Dude, it's cut and paste, man. So I was saying, like, it wasn't a bot. It was a real The bots are something like, hi, Ken, saw your profile. What do you do?
Yeah.
I hate that. Oh, my God. You know how many LinkedIn messages I get? And I'll say something like, look at my profile. It literally in the first sentence tells you I work with, or I do this, or I do this. And it has a list of all the things, especially on Facebook. Facebook's the worst. Hi, man. Saw you respond to somebody. Would like to know more about what you do. Awesome. I'm going to answer you. However, I get messages like, hi, Ken. Saw you in a Facebook group. What do you do? I said,
don't you love the ones that actually try to, I had somebody who literally said, I came across your profile. I would love to give you a financial analysis. Would you be willing to give a young guy a try to help you plan for retirement? I'm thinking, you still live with your mother. You want to do my finances?
That's a good one. All right. So we've determined that I am a jagoff, and I can embrace that. That's fine. Maybe I should have handled that a little bit nicer. But to kind of wrap this up, because even us people without any kids actually are busy too and have other things to do. You don't have to have kids to have a busy life. So what kid, and you kind of hit on it a little bit, Sean, in closing, what could this individual have done to possibly better brand her engagement process?
You got to prime the person, your prospect. You got to prime them. Hey, Ken, saw that you had a great profile. I'd like to have you speak. The way our process works is that we do this and this and this. Like you're priming the person, the prospect. You're priming them for your stuff. Because I can understand dude, I'm super busy. You know how busy I am. I don't have I'll go to the forum maybe in 3 days. I'll probably actually, as a matter of fact, right, Rhonda? I will schedule a time to go to that forum. I'm not going to do it right now. I just happen to be on email time or happen to have 5 minutes between meetings that I saw the message. And I was like, well, I got to do that later. And then I'll text, hey, Lisa, look at my LinkedIn message and can you take care of that for me? Like, I just don't have time right now. Or I'll say, okay, you know what? Let me set a reminder. Let me go back to that later. And then I may not even do it. You know how many opportunities I miss doing that? But yeah, I'm going to prime the person and I'm going to let them know that this is our process, like right in the beginning. And then if you say, okay, Ken, hey, thanks, Sean, for your message. Hey, by the way, is this a pay to play event or how do you pay your speakers? If they would have said pay to play, no. Right. So, I mean, you could have responded back, hey, thank you. Before I check the link, how do you, are you paying your speakers? And she could have said, no, we don't pay speakers. They're free speakers. Or no, we don't pay speakers. They pay us. So yeah. Rhonda, what do you think?
Yeah. Close us out, Rhonda, as our LinkedIn expert. How would you better brand that engagement process?
You know what? I think Sean did it beautifully. I wouldn't change a thing that he just said. In fact, the way you ended it was perfect. You know what? Do you pay your speakers or is this pay to play? Basically, she has to just take 2 seconds and say, we don't pay, it's pay to play, whatever. And then you make the decision to move on. So I think he summed it up perfectly. I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, always put the ball in their court. Always put the ball in their court. You know, if you want certain information, put it in their court. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't change anything that Sean said, but would you change your opinion that I'm a jagoff?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
All right. Well, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Rhonda, for coming back to Branding the Experience and having some fun with
for the last time, apparently.
Yes, for the last time you'll ever see either one of these two so-called experts on any of my podcasts. But I appreciate them being blunt as well as providing a lot of good insight. So for this first segment, I apparently am the jagoff. It will enjoy possibly more segments of I am the jagoff if they go a little bit more my way, maybe in the next 2 or 3 that I do. But as always, thank you for being here on Branding the Experience, and we'll be back with you next week with another great episode. Take care.